After a Royal Rumble for the ages, the road to WrestleMania officially begins. And my goodness, my friends, whoa. We thought last week, we thought the way Monday Night Raw ended last week was a mark out moment. Well, for the second week in a row, we get a mark out moment to close out Monday Night Raw. And I know a certain panelist who I know for a fact is probably still marking out to this very moment. So I'm going to give him a chance to recover as I say, if it's Monday night, oh, yes, it is Ridiculously Raw. Hello, friends. It's Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Ridiculously Raw as we officially start the road to WrestleMania. And, man, we thought last night's Royal Rumble was for the ages, and it was. Monday Night Raw. Maybe not the greatest show, but I will say this. Another newsworthy, notable show here tonight, especially with how this show just ended. So, oh, my Lord in heaven, that's all I can say on that. That certain panelist has it in the group chat box. So, yeah. So I'm not gonna say it. So, I want to save it for the end. So, one piece of business to take care of real quick. Unfortunately, I'm afraid I have some bad news. The First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, will not be joining us tonight. She messaged me a little while ago saying that she won't be able to be on the show tonight. So hopefully we'll have her on with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. So with that being said, I am once again Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio, joined as always by the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, the one and only Good MF, Michael Fletcher. And we also have the Phenom, Michael Bullock, my partner in crime on the Monday Night Raw chats. So, and we have one here tonight. And no, man, we're still trying to recover from the epicness that was the end of this show here tonight. So, all right. You know what we do here. But for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we're going to review Monday Night Raw. And then I'll also give you my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And I'm going to tell you right now, positive reviews on both shows. I'm going to tell you that right now. So stay tuned for that. So with all that being said, gentlemen, let's dive on in to this very notable edition, this newsworthy edition of Monday Night Raw tonight, which was live from the Laredo Energy Arena in Laredo, Texas, on the USA Network. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. We had the Universal Champion, Kevin Owens, along with the United States Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho. You know, they basically gloat about what they did last night at the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens surviving Roman Reigns. He thanks Chris Jericho for his support. But then they would be interrupted by, well, you know, Raw. Braun Strowman. He shows up and Braun Strowman says, hey, last month you promised me a Universal Championship match if you got by Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. And Owens says, oh, I don't remember saying that. And he says, well, you did. And I got the proof. And he showed him the proof and he says, I want my Universal title match tonight or else I'm going to break you in half. And that brings out General Manager Mick Foley. And Mick Foley says, you know what, Braun Strowman, you're right. And while I don't appreciate what you did last night at the Royal Rumble, I'm still going to give you your Universal Championship match against Kevin Owens tonight. Right here in Laredo, Texas. Have a nice day. Okay. Now, I've been watching wrestling in a long time. I've been watching wrestling for a long time, and Mick Foley, oh my Lord in heaven, did you see how this man was dressed tonight? That might have been the most offensive thing I've ever seen. Crowd is tough. They came to life a little bit for the match announcement, and there are some loud fans there, but they certainly weren't as easy as most crowds are for the opening segment of Raw. Oh, and it sounds like WWE is back in championship opportunity rather than title shot mode this week. So it was an okay segment for what it was. Fine segment for what it was. Not really, gonna go too crazy about it. And then from there, it led into our first match of the night, a 2-for-1 deal. We had Chris Jericho squaring off against Sami Zayn. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 45 seconds, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn wins the match, and I got to say it. For me, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, based on the action I saw tonight, I got to say this was the fight of the night. I'm going to give it about 3 to 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Nice match, and the previously quiet crowd was pretty lively once the talking ended and the bell rang to start the first match. The Fastlane show does not take place until March 5th, so it seems more like Zayn is going to get it seems more likely that Zayn will get a title shot on television rather than waiting until the next Raw exclusive pay-per-view. Even though there's still a part of me that thinks they're going to save it for Fastlane. I don't know why, but Sami Zayn most definitely will be the next in line to challenge Chris Jericho for the United States Heavyweight Championship, and that should be one hell of a match, just like this one was tonight. And if that's the case, wow, we just got ourselves a nice little preview. That's all I can say on that. So, segment was fine. It was okay for what it was. But as far as the match goes, the match was better. 3.25 stars, maybe 3.5. That's the best I can go. So, with all that being said, MF, come on in. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk here on YouTube.com as well, over on his channel, BraceFan95. All right, MF, your thoughts on the opening segment with Owens, Jericho, Strowman, Foley, and then the match with Zayn and Jericho. Great match.
Yeah, a great match. Definitely the fight of the night. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I thought the segment was solid for what it was worth, and yeah, it was an enjoyable part of the show. It was, it was what we expected it to be. I heard a lot about it, so I mean, yes, it was very solid for what it was worth. The one thing I gotta say is, you know what, I'm gonna say this. I don't know what to say about about Foley's outfit. I'm not a fashionista guy. This is where, honestly, I would leave it for Megan Silva or Kaiser Butler. Kaiser's more the fashionista of the group. If she was here, maybe she could critique. But I got nothing more to say about that. As far as the action goes, yeah, I agree with you. I thought the rating is absolutely right. I thought they nailed it for the most part. This was definitely a fight of the night in my eyes, and I got really nothing else to really add to the rest of it. So I'm just gonna toss it off to my buddy Michael Bullock, and Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, everybody? The segment I thought was fine for what it was. The thing that the suit that Mick Foley was wearing, well, it's pretty much left to be desired. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But as far as the match goes, I'm gonna say 3 stars. Maybe teetering on 3.25. I mean, I thought this was a great match to start off the show, and yeah, nice win for Sami Zayn, and I think this puts him in line for a shot at the United States Championship. Could happen on a future Raw, or maybe it could happen at Fastlane, but we'll wait and see. So yeah, great. Great job by both men in the ring. So 3 stars is my rating. The segment, okay for what it was. So Florio, let's just move on.
And we move on to a cruiserweight match. We had now being billed as the premier athlete, Tony Nese, squaring off against Mustafa Ali. Winner of the match in 3 minutes and 50 seconds, Tony Nese, with a running knee to the head. I know the match was short, but I think this is a match we should get into because I thought the match was actually not as bad as you think, even though it was a short amount of time. Wouldn't you agree with that, MF?
I'll give it maybe 1.5 to 2 stars. I mean, yes, it was a short fight, but the quality of the fight was actually not bad. So no, I agree with that. I'll give it least 1.5 to 2 stars. I'm leaning more towards the 2 than the 1.5. So yeah, I'll give it 2 stars. Solid enough. Bullet go.
I'll give it about 2.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, like you said, it was a short match, but in the short amount of time that we got, I mean, I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, the high flying action, especially with Mustafa Ali, and I got to be quite honest, I've also been impressed with Mustafa Ali. I mean, with some of his agility and yeah, so. And who knows? I mean, this is a guy I'd like to see get a shot at the cruiserweight title down the road. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's a certain king of the cruiserweight that might beg to differ with me on it. So yeah, so 2.5 stars is my rating. Sleeper fight of the night, I'm gonna be quite honest. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, and you remember, Bo, during our Raw chat tonight, we even said that. I mean, we actually enjoyed this match, even though it was on the shorter side of things. I mean, I know Vinnie Mac might be starting to lose faith in the cruiserweights because I read a dirt sheet earlier talking about how Vinnie Mac is possibly losing faith in the cruiserweights, and that's why these cruiserweight matches on Raw are so short, and the ratings have suffered because of that. But anyways, they spotlighted Ali last week, and now it seems to be Nice's week. Is there a real plan, or is everyone just taking turns winning and losing? It was nice to see Nice get a rare win, but the post-match angle accentuated his negatives. Are they setting up something for Aries, or just using him to take shots at the cruiserweights? Because you remember, after the match was over, Austin Aries went up to interview Tony Nese, and then Tony Nese got in his face and says, "I don't answer to anybody." And who knows? Could there be something with Tony Nese and Austin Aries on the horizon once Austin Aries is medically cleared to return to action? So that's really all I can say on that. So, but I'm actually going to pull the trigger and give it 2.5 stars. I mean, I thought this was a fantastic cruiserweight match for the short time given. I mean, we had some great action, some good near falls, and I mean, what else is there for me to say except let's just move on and now we're going to have some fun. They hyped this last night at the Royal Rumble as there was going to be a confrontation, a face-to-face confrontation with Raw Commissioner Stephanie McMahon and Seth Rollins. And that's what we got. It was Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon. They had their verbal jab. And Michael Bullock, as we started off with you here, oh boy, did we have this was one of the first few. I mean, there was a lot of in-ring segments on this show tonight, but this was one of them. Oh boy, did we have some fun with this.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of fun with this one. This was a very good segment here, and unfortunately, I mean, I can only give this the third best segment of the night, if I'm going to be quite honest. I mean, because there were a couple of other segments that I thought were better than that, and of course, we'll definitely get into it once we get to those other segments. But getting back to this one, yeah, I mean, Seth Rollins basically calls out Stephanie McMahon and excuse me. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, basically, Stephanie was bashing Seth Rollins about that he's no longer the man that he once was, and Seth Rollins basically says, "Oh, Triple H is a coward, and he's just hiding behind you," and then all of a sudden, I mean, Stephanie said, well, because originally she said that Triple H wasn't in the building, but then later on she said, "You know what? I lied. Triple H is on his way to the building right now." And as soon as we heard that, I'm like, whoa, boy, this is gonna get really, really good. And And boy, howdy, when we get to what happened at the end, wow. I mean, there's really nothing more to say, but like I said, to me, third best segment of the night. Like I said, there are only 2 segments that I thought were better than this, and we'll get into it. So, Florio, it is yours.
And one of those 2 segments that were better, we're going to debut a new catchphrase. And Bullock, you know where I'm going with that. We're going to have some fun with that. Believe that. But as far as this segment goes, I do agree with Bullock. It was the third best segment of the night, even though it was a very good segment. There were 2 other in-ring segments that were actually better than this one. And that opening segment was the 4th best segment. But this one here, I actually wish they would have Seth Rollins show up at WWE headquarters and do other things to make life miserable for Triple H. That could have been fun and epic. The way they build up Triple H in his return actually makes him feel like the great returning babyface. So that's really what there is to say. But the segment was very good though, and like Bullock said, when Stephanie basically channeled her inner Eddie Guerrero and said, "I lied," Triple H is on his way to the arena, and he's coming for you. Ooh. And we all saw what happened Saturday night as part of NXT TakeOver San Antonio, when Seth Rollins showed up at the Freeman Coliseum unannounced, out of nowhere, called out Triple H, and the rest is history. So this feud needed a spark. We got the spark on Saturday night, but after tonight, the spark went off. That's it. Third best segment of the night. MF, your thoughts on the face-off with Seth Rollins and Stephanie McMahon?
I mean, what is there to say? Rollins is still fuming. He's still angry. He's pissed off after what happened the week before, and he wants some blood. And the thing is, Stephanie McMahon said, look, what Rollins did was unprofessional, was downright low, was downright wrong, and that she was going to address it one way or another. And here it was. She was saying that, really stirred the hornet's nest when you messed with Triple H, on the show. And Triple H he's trying to be a guy, a loving husband. He's trying to do some, he's trying to work and work on the company, work on the brand that he loves, which is NXT. And you wanted this. Be careful what you wish for. He's coming back later in the night, and he's going to end this one way or another. So you got to wait and see how this comes out. And let me tell you, it was an epic scene, a great moment. I liked it. Nothing more to say. Let's just move on, guys.
And so far, so good. No cutouts here, and that's going to continue because we have ourselves a 6-person mixed tag team match. We had Bayley, Cesaro, and Sheamus squaring off against the women's champion Charlotte and the brand new Raw tag team champions Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Winners of the match in 7.5 minutes, Bayley, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Bayley with the Bayley to belly on Charlotte for the 1-2-3. I'm gonna give this another 2.5 stars here. I mean, this was a solid 6-person mixed tag. I mean, I believe we had a commercial that I believe we had a commercial break during the bout, and that's really all there is for me to say on that. And Cesaro seemed fine afterwards, but that was ugly. And it looked like Gallows did his best to break his fall, but Cesaro still landed hard. But good action throughout, and Bayley gets the best of Charlotte once again. And as we saw last night at the Royal Rumble, we saw Charlotte successfully defend, which we weren't surprised. But after what we saw tonight, it's very clear. In the immortal words of Gorilla Monsoon and all them back in the day, this feud is far from over. So there's nothing really left to say here. Bayley's on her way to another title shot. I don't know if that's going to be on a future Monday Night Raw or if they're going to save that for Fastlane. But Bailey's going to eventually win the title. It ain't going to be on a future Raw. It sure as hell ain't going to be at Fastlane. It's going to be at WrestleMania on April 2nd. That's all there is to say on that, because you already know the story. They're building her to be the next Daniel, the female version of Daniel Bryan. So that's really all there is to say on that. Solid 2.5 stars. Solid enough match. So with that being said, MF, your thoughts on the 6-person mixed tag?
Yeah, no, interesting dynamic, and I think it was definitely a great thing to see. You know, you had the winners last night. You had Charlotte Flair and the new WWE Raw Tag Team Champions teaming together, going up against the losers from last night, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Bayley. And, you know, Bayley gets a big win here. She beats the women's champion. So obviously a lot of people are going to start yelling instant rematch right off the get-go. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. When and how is it going to happen? Well, it doesn't really matter to us. But like we said, the ultimate payoff is one thing and one thing only. Seeing Bayley leave the Citrus Bowl or Camping World Stadium, whatever you want to call it, in Orlando on April 2 as the new Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania 33. So that matters to us. As far as anything else goes, yeah, this was a solid 2.5 star fight, no doubt about that. And it's all yours. So, Bullock, go ahead.
Yeah. What did you guys rank it again?
I said 2.5.
Yeah, I'll say it's about a 2.5 as well. I mean, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Bayley obviously needed the win after both lost their matches last night. So yeah, I mean, now with Bayley getting the win, I mean, pinning Charlotte, you know she's going to get that instant rematch. When? Of course, it's obviously going to happen at WrestleMania. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So 2.5 stars. So Florio, I give it to you.
And the relevant stuff keeps on going. I mean, no cutouts yet. I mean, I don't know if we're even going to have any cutouts, but we'll see. But now we have the brand new Cruiserweight champion and the king of the Cruiserweights, Neville, out for what was called the coronation. He was then interrupted by Rich Swann. So, and Adrian Neville, he was at it again. Another loud promo from him, and I know Bullock's going to have some choice words on that. But before we get to him, let's go to the biggest Neville supporter there is right now, MF. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, who has been very high on Neville as of late. And MF, did the new Cruiserweight champion continue that feeling that you have towards him about being high on him as you are?
I don't think he can do nothing wrong right now. I mean, yes, I know he was a little loud, and I think that's a little bit of a not so good of a moment. And I think that, and I understand why Bullock probably will fly off the handle and say, you know, it wasn't really needed for all this stuff. Okay, fine. But, you know, like I said, I like what I saw. I like what he brings to the table. And he is, without a doubt, must-see guys in WWE right now. I mean, out of all the champions that we got right now in WWE, he's the most legitimate. I feel a strong connection. I love what I see each and every time out. And the thing is with Adrian Neville, I understand it. I know he can be very brash, very, you know, attitude-like, and you're thinking, what the hey? But at the end of the night and at the end of the day, he brings something to the table that not many champions can bring, and that is a fire and intensity, and he really plays his heel role so darn good. And that's the thing. I never really thought of him as a heel, but now that he is, I am full on embracing it. I love what I see. He is, without a doubt, it looks like the heel character is meant and made for Adrian Neville. And that's the thing. Certain guys in professional wrestling, they're meant to be faces and heels. And I really believe that when you embrace a character hard enough and actually get over, that's when you're like, oh my God, this is really great. This is awesome. I love what I see. So for me right now, I don't think you can get any better than what we're getting right now. So nothing more to say. I loved the promo. Of course, it was nice to see Rich Swann come in, and he needed to show some passion. He needed to show some fire. He needs to say like, "Hey, I'm the former champion. Yeah, you screwed me over, but I want another shot, and I want to get my belt back." Fair enough. I mean, valid point. I'm not going to argue that. No way. So this was awesome. I enjoyed it. I think they delivered it on everything in a nutshell. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I thought the promo I thought was good, but Adrian Neville, you need to cut back a little bit. I mean, you need to tone your voice down because the promos are good. It's just that you need to. There's really no need for all that yelling, but yeah. So if you're listening right now, Mr. Neville, please tone your voice down, or you're really going to start getting a lot of people irritated. So, that's just my personal opinion. And yeah, Rich Swann obviously wanted some payback, and he got some of it. So a rematch is going to be somewhere down the line. So, fine segment, Florio. It is yours.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right there too. Adrian Neville, continues to be the best thing going in the cruiserweight division right now. But it was a decent segment that the live crowd didn't really give a damn about. It's a shame. I don't mind Neville calling himself the king of the cruiserweights, but I wish he would tone down the king lines in favor of being more realistic and a less cliche WWE king. So that's really all I can say on that. So, all right. Now what we're gonna get into next is what was going to be the Universal Championship matchup. Kevin Owens defending the title against Braun Strowman. We are ourselves a no contest, guys. It was it actually does go down in the books as Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman wins the match in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. However, it was via disqualification after outside interference from Roman Reigns. So I think we all know where we're going to go with the rating here. Bullock, as we started with you, I think I know where we're going with the rating. Am I right on this?
Yeah, this was an NA here, but man, Roman Reigns, basically coming out and getting some payback. 2 Superman punches and then a big time spear, and then on Braun Strowman. But despite all that, Strowman still gets up, and where this is leading to. Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. I think this is going to happen at Fastlane. So, match was an NA, but what happened afterward I thought was better than the match itself. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, NA for me as well. There were a lot of moving parts there, but Reigns costing Strowman the title shot in this situation feels justified. I just wish the announcers seemed to care more about the integrity of title matches. They just kind of blow off 2 nights in a row that type of interference. Smart to have Corey Graves put over Braun Strowman getting up so quickly in the background as everything was ending. Reigns' interference was no surprise, yet completely logical. I'm still disappointed that they haven't played on the big "It's my yard" line. It's my yard now line he delivered to The Undertaker last night at the Royal Rumble after Roman Reigns eliminated The Undertaker from the Royal Rumble. But don't worry, we'll get to that in due time. But Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman are definitely headed for a Fastlane bout, no question about it. And but Braun Strowman though took out Chris Jericho and the Raw announce table on the stage, which is awesome. So that was definitely the highlight for me. So match was so, but it was an NA anyway because we had a non-finish. So with that being said, MF, your thoughts on this Universal Championship match with Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman?
I'm with you guys on this one. This was an NA. I mean, okay, I get it. It looks like they're gonna try to push this Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns thing for a little bit here, which I don't. It really why. I mean, with everything that went down with last night's Royal Rumble, and this is where I think WWE kind of got confusing because there's a lot of people, and I'm even going to tell you this, guys, as much as you guys were praising and giving some great reviews about last night's Royal Rumble, I'm going to tell you guys, there was a Pearl Harbor job going down, not only on social media, but even on in my 2184 crew brethren. These guys, they unleashed some hell on this Royal Rumble event. Some people were blasting it. They were blasting the Royal Rumble fight, saying that it was an absolute horrific Rumble, calling it one of the worst ones they've ever seen. The only one that the only fight that they said that was worth the time was literally the main the WWE title fight. They're all agreeing with you guys. Fight of the night, fight of the year. They are calling it right now. So, but they said that the women's fight was typical. They actually sided with Michael Bullock on the as it pertains to the Universal title fight. Predictable ending, and they absolutely unleashed on the interference with Braun Strowman, saying that it was out of place. There was no need for him to interfere in that fight. And, you know, with the whole 9 yards, they went nuts on that. And again, I'll bet you anything, they're probably going to go nuts over this now, saying, you know, it's the eye for an eye thing. But there's no point in Roman Reigns. Why is Roman sticking his nose where it didn't belong, even though this is his way of payback and whatnot? They said that if you're going to do Strowman and Roman, fine, settle it, let them fight at WrestleMania. There's no need or no point for them to do an Undertaker versus Roman thing, because they thought that was absolutely cheap, stupid. They more blasted more over the fact about Roman being number 30 also in the Royal Rumble. They absolutely flipped the lid and in all kinds of places. They didn't mind the fact that Randy won the Royal Rumble, which is awesome, because I was kind of a little worried about it, because like, I'm happy Randy won because Roman didn't win it. I'm going to tell you guys, there's an anti-Roman Reigns backlash coming around, guys, and it's coming pretty hard. So, yeah, I mean, it is an NA, but let me tell you guys, if you're going to do Roman and Strowman, fine, but I don't know how this plays out, because with that dynamic of the Royal Rumble and what happened last night, you kind of, I want to say they kind of dropped the ball in one sense, because you could have prolonged that storyline between Strowman and Roman Reigns, but you let Strowman get eliminated earlier, not enough time for Roman to get an opportunity to pay him back. And then on top of that, with the Undertaker and Roman Reigns thing now, I don't know, it kind of feels it kind of felt like WWE made a complete and utter mess of it last night than anything else. Like I said on the show, it might have cleared some stuff up, but it made a lot of things more murkier than it was supposed to be. And that's my sense. I think SmackDown has a lot of momentum going, where Raw there's a lot of gunk that needs to get swiped away. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, that water got a lot more murkier after what we just saw tonight. So I'll give you my explanation why I say that in a little bit. So with that said, Anthony, let's move on. Move on.
Are we having fun yet, boys? Because we're about to have some fun right now. Oh ho ho. Oh my. We had a shocker here. We weren't expecting this at all, but he was there anyway. The Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, and his advocate, Paul Heyman, they come to the ring, and, Paul Heyman basically cuts a promo about Brock Lesnar, getting eliminated from the Royal Rumble by Goldberg, as we all know, which made Michael Cole go absolutely nuts on the commentary last night, which was epic, if I do say so myself. And then, a new catchphrase was debuted on this show tonight, and Michael Bullock and we had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, but that's the catch line right there. So, because Heyman and Lesnar, Heyman talked about but and that was the whole thing, and he brought up about Andre the Giant being undefeated for 15 years before losing to Hulk. He said, he was undefeated for 15 years. Yeah, but he lost to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3. Ronda Rousey was taking names and beating people's asses in UFC, but she got her face smashed by Holly Holm. Kurt Angle won the gold medal with a broken neck and going into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but Brock Lesnar. And then he talked about Goldberg and the whole 9 yards, and he says, well, you know what? Yeah, but must be eradicated. And this is the part where you're going to hit the record button on your DVR or what have you. Heyman says, Brock Lesnar, for one last time, is challenging Bill Goldberg to a final match at WrestleMania 33. This was the second best segment of the night. There was actually one segment that was even better, but this was great. That's the strongest Heyman promo we've heard in some time. He's never bad on the mic, but there are times when he's truly great, and this was one of them. What else is there to say about it? Heyman stumbled in his wording a little bit at the start, but once he got rolling, just delivered a big money promo. He comes at these relatively basic storylines. Goldberg has crushed Lesnar twice and adds so many layers and finesse to build the situation into something much greater than seemed possible going in. The but motivated is just tremendous. His delivery and Lesnar's body language throughout was just spot on, perfect. And you believed when watching it. As great as this segment was, you could easily make an argument that this was the segment of the night, but what happened at the end was actually just a smidgen better. So, but then again, you can make an argument that this was co-segment of the night. I don't care. But nonetheless, this was a phenomenal segment. Paul Heyman delivers again, and we get a newsworthy moment. Goldberg and Lesnar, WrestleMania, it's going to happen. But I read a dirt sheet saying they actually might tweak that match just a little bit, because I'm hearing dirt sheets that Bill Goldberg is going to challenge Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship in the main event of Fastlane. And I'm even hearing rumors that Goldberg is actually going to win the belt at Fastlane. And that would make the Goldberg-Lesnar match at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. What? MF, you got to have some thoughts on that, I'm sure, as well as this segment.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, let me talk about the segment itself. And I know about those dirt sheets because I read it too. It was earlier this afternoon. I wanted it to say something, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna jump on it because I don't wanna stir a hornet's nest. But I heard it too. I will say this. I'll say this, and I'm gonna say this very carefully. I know a lot of people are really concerned about a third Goldberg Lesnar showdown, and this time at WrestleMania because of the fact that, look, the first fight was horrible. The second fight was a complete and utter squash, and I know a lot of people didn't expect that to happen. This time around, if this is going to end the trilogy, then we already know how this is going to play out. Lesnar is going to destroy Goldberg this time around. And it doesn't matter if it's for the Universal title or not, but I would not put the Universal title on the line because I'm sorry, that Universal title is beneath Goldberg and Lesnar, and neither man should have no business being anywhere to that belt. So if this was for the WWE title, then I say, you know what? Throw it. Let's brawl. Let's do it. But the Universal title is meant for guys like Kevin Owens, guys like Finn Balor. I would prefer that to happen than adding that extra layer. Like, I'll even openly admit this. I thought WWE made a humongous mistake by making John Cena versus The Rock the rematch for the WWE World Heavyweight title. It didn't need that extra layer. Just to know it's Goldberg and Lesnar is good enough for me. You really want to do something big? You really want to make this the biggest fight ever at WrestleMania? Let me throw this scenario at you. Goldberg, Lesnar, WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell. Did I get your attention now? Bullock, it's yours.
You certainly got my attention, but I don't even know how the heck I'm going to follow that. I don't think I even can. But yeah, I mean, second best segment of the night. I do agree on. Heyman's always money on the mic when it comes to his mic work, and basically talking about all the yeah buts and basically challenges Goldberg to one more match at WrestleMania. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes down. Because remember, next week on Raw, Goldberg's is gonna be on Raw, and he will respond to the challenge. So we'll wait and see how it all goes down. So second best segment of the night. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, Portland, Oregon. Brace yourselves. That's where we're going to be for Raw next Monday night. The Rose Garden in Portland, the home of the Blazers. So that's really all I can say on that. So, oh boy. All right. Well, remember when I said no cutouts to this point? Well, we finally do get a cutout here. We were gonna have it was a return match from the Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble kickoff show rather. Sasha Banks squaring off against Nia Jax. Nia Jax wins the match in 2 minutes and 5 seconds due to a referee stoppage. And yeah, this was not good. This was a no rating to a dud. I really like what they are doing with Jax, Banks, and now Bayley. Jax looks like a remorseless monster. Sasha's frustration is growing, and it looks like Bayley will eventually be the target of that frustration. I mean, we saw it on SmackDown Live with Dolph Ziggler, with the heel turn, the frustration finally getting to him in the heel turn. Same thing is going to happen with Sasha Banks, and it's going to set up another Sasha Bayley feud. Derek thinks it's going to happen at SummerSlam, and I agree with that. That's all I can say on that. So, So that's pretty much all I can say on that. I speak on behalf of all these guys. No rating to a dud. So we're just going to move on to our next match, which was a Texas Tornado Rules tag team match, where it was Enzo and Cass squaring off against Rusev and Jinder Mahal in this Texas Tornado style match. Winners of the match in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Enzo and Cass, the Wrestling Forum's favorite tag team. They win the match with the Bada Boom Shakalaka. So I believe MF starts out on this one. So MF, your thoughts on this Texas Tornado tag match with Enzo and Cass and Rusev and Mahal?
I thought this was a good fight. I thought it could have been a little more better, but it was solid for what it was worth. I'll give this about 2 to 2.5 stars. I liked how the body of work of everybody involved in the match. They played their roles really well. I love the Texas Tornado rules because it makes it more fluent. You just can't tag in, tag out. Normally, this is why you use the extra cameras. You can go around, and it makes it more dynamic when you have the tag team brawling like that. But if you really looked at it, most of the fight was designated more like handicap, which I really didn't like because you had a lot of 2-on-1 beatdowns in this match. But I did like how the ending came together pretty well. So, no, good fight, solid match. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 to 2.5 stars as well. I mean, I thought it was a good Tornado tag team match for what it was. And, so I think Fletch pretty much touched on it. So, Florio, it's yours.
All right. 2 to 2.5 stars. That's the rating I'll give it. Solid fight. I mean, definitely the best of the series here, even though that's not saying much. So I don't know about that. So I'm just gonna move on. And now, gentlemen, the segment we were all waiting for. The confrontation of confrontations. Triple H, he shows up. He cuts the promo. He calls out Seth Rollins. Rollins was ready, willing, and able, ready to oblige. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, as Seth Rollins was making his way to the ring, he gets rudely greeted. And who did he get rudely greeted by? Not security. MF, hit it.
Joe's gonna kill you. Joe's gonna kill you. Joe's gonna kill you.
If that doesn't give it away, I don't know what does. One of MF's all-time favorites from the world of not just TNA, but also Ring of Honor. The man himself, the Samoan submission machine, the big money player from SoCal, Samoa Joe, shows up and absolutely goes to town on Seth Rollins. What else is there to say? Michael Bullock, you started off. Whoa, Nelly.
Oh, Nelly is right. This was the segment of the night. I mean, well, Triple H basically cuts a scathing promo talking about Seth Rollins, how he thought he was the future of the company, and then how all of a sudden he hurts his knee, and then he basically comes crying to him to surrender the title, and then saying that Seth Rollins was a failure, he was an absolute joke, and then that he had the audacity to come to NXT and interrupt the show and saying, "Look, I tried to play nice. I'm trying to be more the creator than the destroyer." Well, guess what? The destroyer is out. So why don't you come out, Seth Rollins? And Seth Rollins came out and gets blindsided and beat down by Samoa Joe. He's finally on the main roster, and man, that submission maneuver, I mean, Yeah, try being in that because it looks painful. So I think we know it's going to go down. Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe. When is it going to happen? I think it's going to happen at Fastlane because I still think WrestleMania it's going to be Seth Rollins and Triple H. So yeah, segment of the night. There's really nothing more to say. So Florio, it is yours.
Segment of the night. What else is there to say, guys? I mean, whoa, my. A really good promo from Triple H in terms of delivery and emotion. And just when it seemed like Hunter had dumped on Rollins to the point where Hunter would be the total babyface, then came Joe's blindside attack, which makes Hunter looks like he's talking a big game, yet dodging Rollins. It's great to see Joe finally get the call to the main roster. I just hope he's not a stepping stone that Rollins will quickly overcome in time for Rollins to get his match with Hunter at WrestleMania. But, wow. Triple H, a vintage heel promo from Triple H, well done. And then a shock and awe moment with Samoa Joe coming out and just basically beating the snot out of Rollins. I mean, unbelievable. A mark-out moment, to say the very least. A big surprise moment. It was basically an anything can happen moment. So that's really all there is to say on that. It was the segment of the night. MF, I mean, you're the biggest Joe mark of all of us. You followed him from ROH. You followed him in TNA, as did I. But he's in the WWE now, and you just said it best. Joe's gonna kill you.
He is on a rampage, and my God, I didn't know who it was at first because the camera angles was kind of a little wonky and it was a little weird. But once you start hearing Joe, I'm like, is that who I think it is? But once he threw him right into the post and you saw that it was Samoa Joe, I'm like, oh my God, look out. This is going to go bad. And sure enough, the brother from SoCal showed up, and he was on the hunt tonight, man. He was a destroyer. And my God, did that come out so damn good. I mean, wow. You know, that whole segment was awesome. The lead-in, the promos, the whole 9 yards. And then, you know, I loved what Triple H was doing, playing his cards, talking about how he was the company guy, how he was trying to be, you know, he didn't want to be that guy. He didn't want to be the destroyer again. He didn't want to be the cerebral. He didn't want to be, you know, the cerebral assassin again, because we all know if he goes to the King of Kings, if he becomes a cerebral assassin, then God help us all. So, but Rollins was pushing him and pushing and pushing and pushing. But what really pushed Triple H over the edge was that Rollins showed up at NXT on Saturday night at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio. That is Triple H's baby. That is Triple H's pet project. And the minute you showed up on NXT and called out the game, you basically crossed a line, and it had to be retribution. There had to be something about it. And very noteworthy, think about this. Samoa Joe was not used on NXT TakeOver, was not used at the Royal Rumble, and a lot of people thought he should have been used in the Royal Rumble. They didn't use him. Used him tonight on Monday Night Raw. Now, a lot of people are really pissed over the fact that he's on Raw and not SmackDown. Now, that's another fight and another discussion for another night, because I know a lot of people were hoping that it would have been Cena and Joe at WrestleMania. Now it looks like that might not happen, because if Joe is exclusive to Monday Night Raw now, that eliminates any possibility of a John Cena versus Samoa Joe, unless there's an interpromotional match set for WrestleMania, which is possible. I even got one possible interpromotional fight but I'd rather hold on to it unless you want me to tip the hand tonight, then I will. But I think with everything that has happened, let's wait and see. But man alive, what a way to close out Monday Night Raw tonight. That was freaking awesome. The crowd was jumping. And Laredo, good job for you guys, man. I got to give you guys a little bit of some love tonight. This was awesome. So, nothing more to say, Florio. Let's get into the overall review.
Overall review of Monday Night Raw tonight. Overall, the show had some big high points and some moments of 3-hour fatigue, but it gets a thumbs up from me. They are starting to bring back the anything can happen feel in time for WrestleMania season, and we're obviously seeing more of the top stars. I would recommend all of the in-ring segments with the exception of the Cruiserweight segment and the opening segment, but the 2 segments with Rollins, the one with Stephanie, the one with Triple H, recommend those. I also recommend the Heyman and Lesnar segment. As far as matches go, Zayn and Jericho get the thumbs up from me, obviously. I'll even throw in the 6-person mixed tag and the whole 9 yards. You can skip the rest if you'd like. So if I had to put an overall number on this, I would have to give it somewhere between 7 and 7.5 out of 10, mainly because of the in-ring segments with Heyman and Lesnar. And of course, what happened at the end with Triple H and Rollins, and the surprise appearance of Samoa Joe. So, yeah, anything can happen indeed. So, solid start to the road to WrestleMania on the Monday Night Raw side. So, 7.5 out of 10. MF, what says you?
7 out of 10 is my rating. Absolutely right. A great way to start the road to WrestleMania if you're Monday Night Raw. I know, especially on the Raw side, a lot of people were really dumping on Raw. They were saying very predictable ho-hum on a lot of things. A lot of people were really angry, at least on the, like, again, the Raw side of the ledger. There wasn't really that much sense that was made out. But tonight, I think there was a lot of sense that was made. A lot of great matches. Even the promo segments were really good. You only had one cut out the whole night, which is remarkable, especially on a 3-hour show. I think they really hit their stride, and I hope that now that this is indeed the road to WrestleMania, we might see something even better. We'll wait and see what happens. SmackDown definitely has a lot to work with now, but the way SmackDown has been, they are definitely in a very strong position because they got to really even more quicker because remember, Elimination Chamber is 2 weeks away. So they really got to hit the ground running, start setting up for the Chamber event. And so for me, this is more than just a regular show. They're going to have to go really, really, really hard more than anything else. So we'll wait and see what happens. And that's it. So, Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you. 7 out of 10 for me.
I'll make it unanimous, 7 out of 10. So, yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything. So, Florio, it's time for your Tony's Take.
Ready to go. Tony's Take, here we go. We're going to start it off with 205 Live from Toledo, Ohio. Following SmackDown Live last week, let's get right to it. First match of the evening, we had TJ Perkins squaring off against the premier athlete, Tony Nese. TJ Perkins wins the match in 8.5 minutes. Between 3 and 3.5 stars, good match. It's a shame they don't give Nese some wins because he's lost so many times that everyone just assumes he's going to lose. Well, everyone other than Austin Aries, who said Perkins winning was an upset. Hopefully the attack leads to more than just Perkins getting a revenge win. And the crowd was more engaged than most 205 Live crowds. There was even a pro Perkins chant at one point. So I'm leaning more towards 3 or 3.25 stars for that particular bout. The Brian Kendrick squared off against some guy named Trip Bradshaw. Kendrick wins it in 2 minutes. No rating to a dud. It was quick yet entertaining. I like that Kendrick received mic time before the match as he was able to make a 2-minute squash match feel more significant. And then the main event of the evening, Adrian Neville squaring off against Cedric Alexander. Adrian Neville wins the match in 14 minutes and 25 seconds. This was the fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. Very good main event. I would love to see some more from these two. If Neville, obviously Neville won the championship. If Neville takes the championship, as the drama of these two fighting over a title would be excellent. I thought we might actually get through an Alexander match without Noam Dar or Alicia Fox getting involved, but it's logical given his storyline, and it protects Alexander. The post-match pull apart with Swan and Neville was well done, and I was looking forward to the title match at the Rumble. Overall, an entertaining edition of 205 Live with good bookend matches and a fun Kendrick squash in between. And I just hope that they show that terrific Swan Neville hype video from last week on Sunday at the Rumble, which I think they did. So it's between 7 and 7.5 out of 10. Very good show indeed. I said there was a positive review, and that's exactly what I just did. So positive review on that front. Now to the big Genesis edition of Impact Wrestling. It was the Genesis themed episode, and yeah, if you thought it was positive, wait to hear how positive I'm going to go with this one. Even though there was some unnecessary stuff in there. So we started it off with an in-ring segment. We had the Broken Hardys cutting a promo. Yes. And of course, Jeff Hardy brought his briefcase out, the green briefcase, which was the World Heavyweight Championship briefcase. And he said he's number one. And Jeff said number one, and it might be time for him to be TNA champion again. And then Jeff asked, and then I love this part. Jeff asked Matt if the 7 deities offered him more information. And then Matt said he had a premonition in which he saw team after team and title after title, a never-ending wave of challengers. And he said they would start a tag team evolution and revolution that had never been seen before. And Matt said he must revert to his Egyptian roots and become the king in gold, and they must change tag team wrestling forever. And he also said they must go out and acquire every piece of gold there is. And then they would get interrupted by the DCC. So anytime you get the Broken Hardys in there, it's awesome, especially Broken Matt Hardy. Very good. It was a decent opening segment, but it's still pretty flat by 2016 Broken Matt Hardy standards. Where are the fun and creative videos from the Hardy compound? And by the way, if TNA wants viewers to think that open fight night is a special night, then how about laying out entire lineups on other shows ahead of time rather than scripting them to be impromptu like this one? So that's really all there is to say on that. So then we had a TNA World Tag Team Championship match, 3-way match. It was the Broken Hardys defending against the Decay and the DCC. Winners of the match, it was the Broken Hardys. Broken Hardys win the match and retain the titles. Fine 3-way tag match with plenty of action. DCC continue to come off as scrubs, and hopefully there's a plan to heat up Decay again. I believe I rated it 2.5 to 3 stars on that. It was a solid match for what it was. So that's really all I can say on that. So then we move on to the return match for the Grand Championship. Drew Galloway defending against Moose. Winner of the match in the second round, and still Impact Grand Champion Drew Galloway. Galloway, he continues to be miscast as the heel. He'll do a fine job, but the fans clearly want to cheer him. They rooted for him throughout his promo and still cheered when he held up the belt despite winning the match due to a low blow. I still think the match before was better, but this was fine too. Another 2.5 to 3 stars there. And then we had the first ever Monsters Ball for the TNA Women's Knockout Championship. Rosemary versus Jade, red versus blue, if you will. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the TNA Knockouts champion. It's Rosemary. Second best fight of the night, 3.5 stars. Great effort from both women. Women's hardcore matches will never be my thing, but they did an excellent job. It's just a shame this match didn't get more hype. They spent some time building it up 2 weeks ago, but I didn't recall much from last week, and we didn't hear from either woman before the match on this show. But that said, 2016 was not a great year for the knockouts in the ring, mainly because of that nonsense with Maria Kanellis and Gail Kim. But they developed some really good characters, and hopefully this match is a sign that there will be more focus on the in-ring work now that the characters have been established. So that's all I can say on that. Then we had a fatal 4-way match. Or actually, it was a 5-way match. I beg your pardon. 5-way match for the X Division Championship. DJZ versus Caleb Connolly versus Trevor Lee versus Andrew Everett and Marshe Rocket. Winner of the match in 4 minutes and 5 seconds and still X Division champion DJZ. Well, we know the X Division is not about post-match attacks. We still don't know what it's actually about. But we're a step closer after all these years. You know the drill. Good athleticism from the talent. But these 4-way, 5-way, 6-way, etc. matches aren't doing anyone any good. And that's really all I can say on that. This was the worst fight of the night, 1.5 to 2 stars. And then we had the main event, the 30-minute Iron Man match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Eddie Edwards defending against Bobby Lashley. It ended 3 falls to 2. The winner of the match, 3 falls to 2. And once again, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Bobby Lashley. This was the fight of the night. Solid 4 stars. Really good Iron Man match with the right guy going over. Edwards just didn't really click as TNA World Heavyweight Champion, even though I was very happy about it. But perhaps his run will make him mean more as a singles wrestler going forward. The match was laid out nicely, and I love the way Edwards had Lashley in a submission hole at the end, as it sent the message that Edwards was that close to tying things up. In other words, Edwards comes out of his title loss looking good, and now the right guy has the belt again. Overall, the show featured 2 strong matches with the main event and the Knockouts Monsters Ball. There were some clunker moments, but the quality wrestling made up for them in terms of making this a good show overall. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 is my rating for this show. I mean, this was a very good Genesis show. I mean, go out of your way to watch the main event, the 30-minute Iron Man match. Also, go out of your way to watch the women's match. I mean, because I heard a lot of rave reviews, and after seeing how it all went down, I'm not at all surprised it delivered. I heard a lot of sources say it delivered, and sure enough, boy howdy, it delivered. So 7.5 to 8 out of 10 is my rating on that. So, all right, what can we expect on the next edition of Impact Wrestling, which goes down this Thursday night on Pop Television? Well, let's find out. Like I said, I just want to be absolutely 100% sure that I have the right information here. So this is what should be going down this week on Impact Wrestling. This is the open fight night. The Hardys, they cut a promo, and Jeff Hardy is actually going to challenge Bobby Lashley for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to cash in the briefcase. So we're going to see it. Lashley, Jeff Hardy, World Heavyweight Championship. Drew Galloway is going to defend the Grand Championship. EC3 will go one-on-one with Eli Drake. Brandy Rhodes is going to make her return to Impact, and she's going to call out Rosemary. And then we had Aaron Rex going up against Robbie E. Helms Dynasty cuts a promo, and Brooke Tessmacher is going to go up against Sienna. We're going to get a mixed tag team match. Brandy Rhodes and Moose are going to score off against Rosemary and Crazy Steve. And then the DCC will score off against Eli Drake and Tyrus in a 3-on-2 match. So that's all that I have. If I messed anything up, or if I screwed anything up, I do apologize for that. So, but just keep an eye on that for Thursday night on Impact Wrestling. So that will do it for this. That will put the ball on this edition of Ridiculously Raw, this newsworthy and exciting edition of Ridiculously Raw, to say the very least. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to do our shout-outs now, and I'll open forum it. Whoever wants to start it off. Just save me for last so I can set up the future content. So MF or Bullock, whoever wants to do the shout-outs first, it's all yours.
I guess I'll lead off then. I want to say thank you to the great fans out there for making the show as amazing as it has been. This whole week has been unbelievable, you guys. Tomorrow night is another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk on YouTube.com. Of course, we got SmackDown Live. I actually got a lot of RWA news. I'll definitely unleash that. The night of appreciation went down this past Saturday night, and 2 new champions were crowned. We'll get into that, and then as always, as shout out to all the super fans out there. Shout out to my 2184 crew, friends in junior high and high school days. You guys know who you guys are. Nothing more to say. See you guys tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern on Brace 95. Until then, Mike Fletcher, you know the routine. 100 pounds. I'm out. Have a good night. Let's move on.
Bullock, are you with us? I guess he's not. So, all right, I'll just wrap it up here. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world, of course. Special shout out to our fellow colleague, the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson, who unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight. Of course, shout out to her and her family. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Jenny Luttrell from the UK. Our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons. And last but not least, our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, the hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira, who makes this thing go as it is. And we just recently celebrated our 5th anniversary of this show. I mean, 5 years and counting since we had our debut show. I mean, wow, 5 years already. Unbelievable. I feel like just yesterday we were starting this whole thing, but unreal. So I'll save the rest of my shout outs for Friday night. Of course, like MF alluded to, tomorrow night at 10 p.m., we will have another installment of the Cerebral Smack Talk, where we will review SmackDown Live as we sort out all the fallout from their end on the Royal Rumble side. They didn't have much as far as in-ring goes on the Rumble, but boy, how did they deliver? They delivered 2 of the most newsworthy, notable moments of the night. You know, with John Cena winning the WWE Championship and Randy Orton winning the Royal Rumble. They announced today that both John Cena and AJ Styles will be in the Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber. The other 4 spots, we don't know. Maybe we'll see some qualifying matches perhaps tomorrow night on SmackDown Live, although I haven't heard anything. The only thing I know for SmackDown Live tomorrow night is that John Cena will make his first appearance on SmackDown Live as the WWE Champion. So we'll see how that all goes down. That should be some fun right there. So, and then MF with his Mikey's Mindset with Ring of Honor and all that good news from RWA. I can't wait to hear what he has to say on that. And then Friday night, 10:30, get ready. Strictly Sports. It's our first big Strictly Sports show of 2017, as we are going to preview the biggest football game in all of Western civilization, Super Bowl 51. The New England Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to dissect every nook and cranny of this game. Who do we think is going to win the Lombardi Trophy? Well, you'll have to wait and find out on Friday night at 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25. And then next Monday night, Ridiculously Raw, as we continue on the road to Fastlane, WrestleMania, what have you. Goldberg will be in the house. So can't wait to find out where it goes from there. So, all right, that'll do it for this. So until tomorrow night at 10 p.m. over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95 for another all-new edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. It's Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and his spirit, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and the Hardcore Pipe Bomb Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on Brace Fan 95, you were watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.